Is Olajumoke and I'll be anchoring today's webinar. On behalf of SK Marshall Limited, I sincerely welcome everyone to today's live webinar, and I'm excited to have you join us for this session on quality before testing. So this session is promised to be a great one, and feel free to relax, lean, and ask questions when it's time to ask questions. So there will be a session for question and answer after the speaker session. So I want you all to pay attention to what um, we are all going to be taught tonight and make use of this opportunity, make a very good use of this opportunity. So before I call on our speaker, I'd like to briefly tell us about SK Marshall Limited. So in SK Marshall Limited, SK actually means software quality assurance. So what do we do in SK Marshall? We train people to become quality assurance engineer. We offer training services, and we also offer a testing services to companies. And currently, we are offering scholarship programs. We started from cohort 1, and by the grace of God, we are currently in the 5th cohort. So the application for the 6th cohort is currently on. Should in case you are on this call, you've not participated or you've participated and you want your friends, your colleagues to join, application for the 6.0 cohort is currently on. All right, so aside from the scholarship program, we also offer a premium program. So it is an extension in the premium program. In the scholarship program, it is for 4 weeks, while in the premium program, I think we have about 10 weeks there. So um, it is in the premium programs um, the courses that are going to be taught are much more than the scholarship program. So if you've attended a scholarship program, you know that we are not really joking with the scholarship program. So if you are willing to join the premium program and you've participated in the scholarship program, you can do it to reach out to us. So the class starts May 2nd. So don't sleep on this opportunity. In the next cohort for the premium program, the price might not actually be the same. And also we have, these are the pictures of our previous scholars for our scholarship programs. And there are some people there that we also recommend job for. So for the current sports, ensure that you are very serious with what you are being taught. Who knows, opportunity might come and we can't refer those we can't vouch for outside. We can only refer those that we know they'll make us proud outside there. So make sure you make use of this opportunity very wisely. And okay, I would like to move straight to today's webinar. The topic for today's webinar is quality before testing, the mindset of every the mindset of every Q the mindset every QA engineer needs, quality before testing. And our guest speaker is engineer Yusuf Abba Kairi. Abba Kairi.
Abba Kiari. Were you not in
Ah,
this country? Starting Abba Kiari.
Abba Kiari. Okay, thank you. Thank you. He's a software tester and the founder of YAM Technologies. Thank you very much for joining us for tonight's webinar. We do not take this opportunity for granted. So Engineer Yusuf Bakari is a technology professional with over 2 decades of experience in software quality assurance, IT service delivery, and systems. He is the founder of Software Testing Nation, a platform for advancing software quality, for advancing a platform for advancing software quality and digital trust across Africa, and an active contributor to the Nigeria Software Testing Qualification Board, NGSTQB, driving capacity building in software testing across Nigeria. So you can see that we do not really have a small person in our midst this evening. So I want us to pay attention to whatsoever he will be teaching us this evening and learn really, really well from him. So once again, Mr. Yusuf, thank you for joining us this evening. We do not take this for granted. Okay, just before I call on him to start the session, I'd also like to appreciate the manager of SK Marshall. Can you please celebrate him with me, Mr. Olumide Ayodeji? Thank you so much for bringing out this for us. Thank you for this wonderful initiative. Thank you for having us at art. All right, with a round of applause, can we welcome Mr. Yusuf to have a session? You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
So my name is Yusuf Abakari. For those that are finding it difficult to pronounce the name, is from this name from the far east, northeast of the country. So thank you for having me once again. So before we begin, I want us to imagine something. Imagine there's a long weekend. You know, just recently we did our Easter celebration, so it was a very long weekend. So imagine on a Thursday, you are preparing for the long weekend. You went to buy some stuff, you know, to help you for the weekend with your last 10,000, that's 20,000 naira. So as you went there, you bought all the things you wanted to buy. At the point of payment, you made a transfer. Your account was debited, but the transfer didn't go through. So imagine the frustration that will come to you. So at that point, you will not be thinking of these testers, those people that built this application. That's what you'll be thinking of. You'll be thinking of this company or this bank or whatever that you're using, this app that you're using, the developers or the owners of this app. You will just be calling all manner of names. So your thinking is not going to be thinking about what was done or how the application was built. Your concern is about your experience and how frustrating it is at that point, at that moment. So that's one of the issues or one of the problems that happens when an application is not well built and so many things are not considered. So that's what brings us to our topic today, quality before testing, the mindset every QA engineer needs. So permit me to share my screen. I have a small presentation that GPT assisted me in doing it. Okay. So like we said, quality before testing, the mindset every QA engineer needs. So what is the focus on, building a software? The focus is building what the user can trust. That's what all application developers, all companies that use, whether be it website, gaming site, betting site, booking site, all those applications, mobile apps, whatever. What the developer wants or the company wants is for users to trust that system, to be able to be coming back all the time to use it. So that's the focus of building a good software by a developer or a company. So if that trust is not there, that means your application is as good as is non-existent, because people will just start losing confidence in your application. So the simple questions that you need to be asking is, we're asking ourselves now, so have you used an app that just works? There are some applications that you don't even think twice, because whatever you want to do with it works. And there are some that this one there's no go area. I've tried it 2 or 3 times, it has disappointed, so I'm not going there anymore. So, but there are some that you have confidence, you can even recommend to others. If you want to do this, just go to that website. You can get anything that you need from there. So the experience is just top notch. So that's the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And then what are the issues? The issues are users, they don't really see what was tested or what was not tested. They don't care about your test plan, your test, your bugs that you detected, all those, they don't care. All they care about is, how did the application make them feel? I want to make payment. Did the payment go through instantly? Did it take time? Did I try it 2 or 3 times? All these factors, we put it in mind that these are the things that we need when we are building an application. So like the illustration here, the user experience is just like an iceberg. The user interface is just 1 or 2 things. Let's imagine you log into X website or Facebook or Instagram. You just see small details, but at the back end, there are so many features. There are so many things working around the background just to give you a better experience. So that's the real issue that we need to address, is the experience that our users have in our applications. That's what we're looking at. And then, like I mentioned in my example, you send money, the application hangs, or you just be rolling, and then it times out, and you are debited. But the other party, the third person, did not get the funds, and you have lost the money has left your account. You went to the bank, you called the customer service, they said, no, this one you have to come into our bank, or you send them an email and they will say it will be resolved in the next working day, and the next working day is 4 days away. So that weekend is already ruined for you. So you don't want to be, as a QA now, a QA engineer or software tester, you don't want to be responsible for that kind of experience for your organization, no matter how big or small your organization is. You wouldn't want to be in that person's position. So what do users really care about? What they care about, the banking. I'm using banking system because that's what we mostly use in Nigeria here. We use fintechs and bank applications. So that's why I'm basing my presentation on financial systems. So what do they care about? Is my money safe? These are some basic questions that people are asking. Can fraudsters, can they steal my money? Is it really the security features? Is it well tested? Is it well put in place? And then, can I trust this app? If I use it now, what are the chances that I will get the best experience? What are the chances that I will not be using it twice? I will not be doing it 2 or 3 times before, my transaction goes through. So these are the few questions I got to be asking. So where do we get it wrong? We get it wrong by focusing on, the bugs. So from my beginning of my presentation up to this point, indirectly, it's speaking about developers. What developers focus on. They focus, if a developer, to be honest, they tend to be biased in terms of their, their code. All they care about is my code works, but they don't really put focus on the experience the users get as long as their code works. And then added to that, as a tester, you just think, okay, how many bugs did you catch? For example, some organizations, their KPIs for their testers is actually based on how many bugs did you detect and how many did you report. So that's not really the focus. You need to focus on the user experience. You need to focus on what your user needs and what you build for them. So you just focus on the trust that you build with your customers or your users. And then so that way, so as a tester now or a QA engineer, you need to think different. You should stop thinking about, did we test this feature? Did we test that one? Yes, it might work. Or you can even automate your testing and it will run and say, yes, successful. Nothing is there. But, excuse my language, it might tested rubbish that nobody will use. So what you'll be asking is, will the users trust it? What the user needs, am I really offering that experience to that user? That's what you'll be thinking as a tester. So you are like, a bridge between the developers and the users. That's what QA is supposed to be, or that's how you're supposed to be. And how do you become that kind of bridge, or that bridge to your team? You should start asking why. Why are we really building this application? Is it just for aesthetics, so that we say, yes, we have a website and it's beautiful? Or yes, since this company ABC has, has this feature, we too, we need to have it. Why is stopping us from having this feature? That's not the question you need to be asking. You need to be asking why you are building the application, even if it's just one feature that your system has. So it needs to be the best feature that the users will have. And then who are you sending it to? Who are you selling it to? If it's a financial application, so if these transactions, are they really going as they should? That's what the questions you need to be asking as a QA. So if you are thinking of why the system is being built in the first place, you'll be able to have better questions. You'll be able to detect problems as soon as possible. Maybe at the requirement stage, you might even get you might detect some of the bugs. And then you are protecting the user experience. Like I've been saying, if the experience of the user is not a good experience, you will not go back to it. As it is now, there are some banks that no matter what, I will never, ever, ever, even though they have improved or not, I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I will never use their application again. I would rather walk into the banking hall and do my over-the-counter transaction and just leave. It's better for me that way than to use their app. There are some banks like that. There are some financial companies that are like that. There are some companies, you want to buy NEPA units, for example. Your units, it's only one unit remaining on your meter. You wanted to buy additional units. You use their app and the payment did not go through. You did not get the voucher and your money is everything. You call customer care and they tell you need to fill out a complaint form at their head office or at their branch office. So you see, the aim has been defeated. you know, as a user, you will not think of going back to that, application again. So you'll be asking better questions, you know, and you'll be able to detect some of the issues earlier in the, in the development process, and at the end of the day, you are protecting the users. So what's your role as a QA? So like I said, you are the BK, you are the bridge in between the developers and the users. So you should be thinking about, or you should be thinking like a user. You know, you're supposed to be having a user perspective, not a developer perspective, or not your company perspective. Yes, it's good to have your teams, as teamwork, you need to have your teams back, but the aim is to get a better experience for your users. And then that means you are getting better, products. You are building better products, and more people are using your application, more money for your company, and maybe more bonuses for you as a development team. So you are supposed to be a trust builder. You look at the complaints, maybe social media complaints, your feedback forms, all these things. You look at what the users are actually complaining about, and then you push it out to your developers. Say, this is what the people are saying, and these are what the things we need to build. You are building trust as a user. You are a quality guardian, so to speak. You are guarding the application from ruining the reputation of your company. If, for example, the application someone used, it did not work, and then maybe it's time for you to move on from that company. You wanted to move to another company. You went for an interview or something like that, and then the interviewers saying, okay, so you work with so company. So why is this thing not working? So what have you been doing as a QA? What are you advising? Or is it that you're not doing your work? You can't say, no, they are not giving us resources. They are not, you can't say that, even if it's true, because somebody will believe you. It's like you're shifting the blame to somebody else. So it's even not good for you. Or you try to do your own startup, and then in your portfolio, they're saying, I've worked with this company, I've worked with that company. So if there are some apps that did not really give good experience to users, you might not want to, associate yourself with those things. So all those years of experience in the long run, it's not favoring you as a quality engineer, as a QA engineer. So you're supposed to be a quality guardian. You're supposed to build trust, and you're supposed to be advocating for the test, for the user. When I was the head of QA for our previous role, I'm no longer the head of QA in that team. I'm in a different team now, but in my previous team, we built some apps. So my mind is always, what is the user experience? I always think like a user. That's what I do. So I ask the toughest questions, difficult questions. Developers don't really like my questions in our meeting. Sometimes they even try to bypass our team because, we're asking questions that they may not have answers to. But at the end of the day, if we come together, we build a good application, everybody's happy. So you're supposed to advocate, you're supposed to be the guardian of the users and the guardian of your organization. So what is the big idea? The big idea is you cannot test quality into your product. If the quality is not there, you cannot really test that quality. So right from the beginning, the quality needs to be there. And then, it needs to start from the requirement stage in some cases. Sometimes it's even in the ideation stage. We want to build, we want to add, international transactions to our app. So right from that point, you start thinking of, okay, what are the other companies doing? What are they not doing right? What services are they not providing to the other customers that we need to come in and, and beat the competition? So these are the things that you need to be thinking of. So the quality needs to be right from the beginning, not while the application is being built and you are testing and discovering bugs and you think you are doing a good job. You are not really doing a good job. You are just repeating a problem that is already there. So you need to, and you're already, as this kind of attitude, if that have that kind of mindset of just tester, you are just wasting resources of your organization, and you are wasting your own time. So you need to build the quality right from the beginning, right from the start. So at the end of the day, you have a very good product. So what are you supposed to do next? After you have your mindset is to build quality, is to think of the quality right from the beginning. So you need to think like a user. Like I said, anything that you want to build, be it a website, a mobile app, a game, whatever it is. As it is, there are some software that are built on COBOL operator or programming language, but they still work. They are in those big organizations because it works and it's providing quality to their. They don't need to. They have no need to upgrade. They just need to, build capacity for people to be, for their staff to be maintaining those applications because it works. Like people are saying Linux system is better than Windows servers. Linux servers are better. Make most of the large organizations that has a lot of payload, has a lot of traffic, they don't rely on Windows because, as they say, there are Windows is heavy, Linux is lighter. The code runs faster on Linux system. So you need to be thinking like a user, and you need to focus on trust. Ultimately, what you need is more users to your app, not the other way around. So you need referrals, you need subscribers, you need paying subscribers. So if you don't have that trust, if people are not satisfied with your application, people will not come to your application and they will not refer. Even if you beg, even if you pay money, they will not use your app. Even if you provide incentives, they will not use your app because at the end of the day, it doesn't work from their own experience. So you focus on users' experience. That's, as a keyword, that's what you need to be thinking about. Thank you. So at the end of the day, what you need is to build a quality system that works for your users. Stop thinking about what tools that I need. We need the newest automation tools. We need the newest, load testing tools. We need the newest this. We need the new. No, that's not what you'll be thinking of. What you'll be thinking of, what the user actually wants. Am I really providing that user the application that they need? That's what you need to be focusing on. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Yusuf. Can we celebrate him? Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful teaching. We do not take this for granted. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time
Thank you.
for question. Yes, sir. It's time for question and answer. Yeah, you can raise up an emoji if you have a question, or you drop it in the chat box. All right, we are waiting for the questions. We are waiting. Let's make it snappy.
If there are no questions, that means you did not understand what I was saying.
Is it that we don't have any question for Mr. Yusuf? You already concluded that you did not understand what he has taught. Let's drop our questions.
Okay. I think I will just pose a question to Mr. Yusuf so
Good
that
evening. Good evening. Now, can you hear me?
Ainda, are you speaking?
Yeah. I'm speaking. Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Engineer. So, to be really honest, not that I really don't have question, but just like I typed, Mr. Yusuf was very direct and blunt. Like he was just telling us what we need to know. So perhaps, in fact, it took me a while when I saw the information. I just need to take my writing materials to chop something. So firstly is that I like to plead if we can get the material used for us. And secondly is perhaps even like just like you said that if we don't have any question, maybe we don't understand. Perhaps he might have a question for us to also test maybe what we really understand. But I really appreciate the directness and exactly what we need to know and the quality assurance like a software tester. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. So you want him to challenge you.
Yes, you can let me understand.
Uh, all right. You really want to decide that. I know if someone should raise a question, we have people that have questions, but they are just waiting for someone to open the floor. We have a question in the chat box though. So Dauda said this is not a question, but to just appreciate Engineer Yusuf for a job well done. The take home is to be user centric and build trust. Okay, thank you for that, Dauda. Okay, Faith Ajayi has a question. She said, are there limitations as a QA tester from the user perspective? Are there limitations as a QA tester from the user perspective? Mr. Isusa, Engineer Isusa.
Okay, thank you for that question. There are no limitations. So feedback is actually important for a QA. You know, if people are not giving feedback, that means there's a problem on your application. That means they have already fed up. So as a QA, you'll not be, it may be out of your focus, or your job description, but it's something that you need to be doing. For example, you look at the social media, for example. What are people saying with your application? What are people saying? There are some forums, that people usually talk about bad experiences with some apps. So you need to be looking at that and be thinking of ways that you improve. That's why we have DevOps now, continuous improvement and continuous development. So that continuous, the keyword continuous, there are some changes in technology, some changes in user experience. So it's always evolving. So you need to be looking at what the users need or what they really want before, and then be incorporating in your applications. For example, now if you look at iPhone, the iPhone, for example, is if you look at the phone itself, it's a boring phone. It doesn't really have too much aesthetics, doesn't really have, but you need to ask, why are people so fixated in using iPhones? It's not, forget about the status symbol and whatever. It's the most easy, user-friendly mobile phone that you can have. I don't use iPhone, but I know most of the people that use it, you ask questions, like if you ask questions, you build up for the iPhone. So you need to look at what users are asking or what users are saying. So it's very easy to use. So that's why people are just, going to it. When Samsung or Huawei jump into new features, foldable screen, all those things, you see iPhone, they are just laid back. because they are not ready to bring the experience to their users. So they are not really interested in all those things until when they are ready or when their users are ready, because they know their users are always coming back. So there's no limitation to be, to be precise. There's no limitation. As long as users are coming back, you keep on improving, keep giving them what they need. I hope that answered the questions.
Okay, Faith, are you okay with the answer? All right. Thank you, sir, for that answer. Do we still have any other question?
Or if you have contribution, you can contribute. So it's an interactive session, so you can contribute as well. Or share your experience.
All right, so let me come in here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ayodeji. Okay, so I would like to say one or two things concerning some of the things Engineer Yusuf has said earlier today. So quality doesn't start the day you pick up your test cases and start checking whether the system fails or pass. That's not where you start building quality in itself. I mean, I'm talking about test execution, where you are checking expected result against the actual results. Is it what is expected that the system is given? At that point where you are saying something fails, something pass, is not where the quality starts from. Quality, in fact, I would say has been decided long before you ever start writing, a single line of test case. And why did I say that, right? From the user review, where every stakeholder has come together to determine, oh, this is what we are going to be building, these the features we want to see in that application. That's where quality starts from. The product owner, let's say the product manager, business analyst, project manager, and the subject matter experts, stakeholders, the business users, where they start gathering those features, where they start documenting. Let me just say, start from documenting itself. What the business analyst is writing, the business requirement document, how is it captured, right? From there into the functional, specifications of the system. How are they captured? Are they properly captured? Are they sufficient enough in capturing the mindset of the users? So if they are not, then just know that whatever is being built there trickles down to what the UI/UX designer would create. It also trickles down to what the developer will build. And that same document is what the software tester gets, all right, to develop, their test design. So what am I saying in essence? The mindset that a QA engineer should have from the very beginning is, the document in itself, are they properly captured? Are the necessary stakeholders doing what they should do? So your mindset should be prevention rather than detective from the beginning. So the UI/UX that is being designed, are they reviewed? If they are not reviewed, then just know that there will be a lot of rework. So the more rework you have, the more room you are giving for bugs and some standard of a product that is being built. So basically, quality is not something that starts on the day you are executing tests. It starts from the day the requirement is being gathered and into all the other phases down to the test execution and then even the maintenance phase. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Yeah, sorry, let me just a few words. So thank you, Mr. Marshall, and thank you for the invite. It's good that you dig deeper into the the topic or the quality aspect. But this my presentation is I intentionally decided not to make it technical because if you are focusing on technicalities, there are some basic tools, little things that you miss out if your mind is always tester. You're thinking about business analyst, business owner. It's good to have as a technical person, but in the at the basic stages or at the at the bottom of the line is the bottom line is you need to be as non-technical as possible to have the kind of mindset that the user needs, because what the user needs is something that is as easy to use as possible. So if you make it technical, it's going to be very difficult for your users, and then it's going to be problematic. So if you are thinking like a user, you're always be thinking of simplification, to make it as simple as possible. Just try logging into Instagram page, for example. Just look at the interface, something very simple, but everybody knows Instagram is one of the biggest or the most visited website. Twitter is one of the biggest, most visited website. But if you look at their front page or their landing page, it's just something very simple. So the features keep on increasing as your need is increasing. You want to tweet, you want to comment, that's where other features will come in. But at the beginning of the page, you'll just be scrolling to the feeds and nothing is there until you start to engage with this. So that's how a QA engineer needs to be thinking about some applications. There are some websites, if you just go there, it's even difficult to the eyes because there are so many information on the same one landing page. They're trying to show you everything that they're doing, but that's not what you want to provide to your users. So thank you for making it a bit technical. If technicalities is what some of your audience prefer, and then like I said, my mind is just it's intentional to make it not too technical or as least technical as possible, so that the message will reach out to each and every one of us here. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Yusuf and Engineer Yusuf. Sorry. And of course, yeah, what you have presented to us speak directly to our audience. Yeah, because most of our audience, they are new to software testing, so it's very top notch for us. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I guess this will be the end of today's webinar. A big thank you to our speakers for an engaging and insightful session today. Your time, effort, and passion for teaching have added this value to our community, and we are grateful for the impact you made on our participants. So we are very grateful for this opportunity, sir. And to our participants also, thank you for joining this webinar. I believe we all took one or two things, even like 5 things from what Mr. Yusuf has said tonight. And let's make sure we put everything we've learned in actions. Thank you very much once again for joining us for tonight's webinar. And ensure that
thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So let's do well to have a wonderful night's rest.
So you can connect
registration.
with me through these channels. The easiest for me is email. You know, I respond to WhatsApp. WhatsApp is you know, it may take 2 or 3 days for me to respond, but email, you know, I'm engaged more with email. And then you can follow my post on LinkedIn. You know, I post from time to time some useful things. But even if you go there, there are not too technical things, because my belief is simplification, and then the human touch in whatever that we're doing. And then for, you know, for information updates on, you know, software testing, you can follow my blog, Software Testing Nation. So thank you very much once again for having me. It's a pleasure for connecting with all of you here, and I hope that we'll have more engagement in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Everybody needs to have a wonderful night's rest and a fruitful week
So
ahead.
much.